Welcome everyone to the Outtakes Movie Podcast, where we're going to go through every single movie of all time and rank them objectively best to worst. I'm joined as always with my elite crew, and we'll do some proper introductions to everyone. Amelia, you invented Avid, that's right? You're fucking well quiet, man. You've gone completely silent.
Oh boy.
Amelia invented Avid.
Amelia, you invented Avid, that's correct. That's the area of post-production you're in.
Yes.
Joe, you are the Academy Awards. This is correct?
The whole thing, yeah.
That's what I thought.
Not even the people, just the building that they hosted in.
Yeah.
I'm the papers. I'm the paper. You know when they take it out? That's me.
That's you. And Jacob.
Me.
You alright, man?
Yeah, I'm here. That's me.
Solid.
Hello.
And I'm just a mug who spent way too much money on a film degree and have a desire to give it out for free through many, many episodes of ridiculous nonsense. And today, our ridiculous nonsense is the ghostest with the mostest, Beetlejuice. Amelia, tell us all about Beetlejuice.
Right, okay. It's only a really short film, so I don't know how short this episode will be. I'm going to try and keep it a nice size, but there's so much to talk about. I really enjoyed actually researching this film, and I can't wait to tell you, and I can't wait to hear what you guys think. Obviously, it's Halloween soon, so we had to start our October one with a bit of Halloween goodness. So obviously, this film was released in 1988. When was, last week's episode when we did Batman, what year was that released? Was that the 90s
89.
or the 80s?
Well,
Oh!
the one we
the
did,
Burton Batman
or
was
the Burton
89.
one, yeah, that was 89.
Yeah, the Burton one was 89.
I think you can proper tell throughout this that he's hinting. I think there's loads of giveaways. Not loads, but there's a bit, isn't there, where he's got bat wings, and I'm Batman.
Yeah, it's quite good. It's quite
That's
good.
also Michael Keaton and Tim Burton. Do you reckon this was a
Danny
prequel?
Elfman. Yeah.
Maybe.
Yes, prequel, yeah.
Do you know what-
Oh yeah, Danny Elfman, yeah. Yeah.
Because, did you guys hear? Obviously, this film did really well in the box office. Did you guys hear what the idea for the sequel was going to be?
No.
I did.
Literally
Yes.
in the
I'll
end.
let you. Yeah, it's whoa.
Okay. I won't go into too much detail, but like I say, this did so well on opening box office that they instantly went, right, we're going to do a sequel, but it never happened because obviously he went straight into the next Batman. Amazing. So yeah, it was going to be Beetlejuice Goes Hawaiian. Not even joking.
Oh my
When I
gosh.
found this out, I
Right.
thought this was for real. The whole idea was going to be he goes on holiday or something. He ends up in Hawaii. I think the Deets were meant to still be there, and they had this massive hotel or something. And the whole idea was he was going to haunt it and cause mayhem over in Hawaii.
That's pretty fun.
See,
I mean, to be
read
fair,
it,
this movie reads, to me, a lot like a franchise movie anyway. Your titular character shows up so little that it already feels like they assume you know full well who he is. That we've had hijinks previously, and we can just move on with other stuff. So that sort of idea for a sequel doesn't surprise me at all.
I'm sure that the sequel.
sequel as well. They were gonna weren't they gonna build the hotel on an ancient burial ground or something, and that's what was haunting the something like that,
crazy.
yeah.
Yeah,
and
honestly.
it was and I can't even remember what the. I remember in the thing where he was gonna turn into Beetlejuice was gonna turn some kind of big, huge demon thing at the end, and then he was gonna cause some hurricane or something. I can't remember what it was. There was a name for what he was gonna turn into. I can't
It's
remember what
really
it was.
weird. Look into it
was
when you get a chance. It's very odd.
Yeah, it's very strange, but.
But it still could happen because apparently Winona Ryder and Tim Burton, I think, do supposedly want it to happen.
Whoa.
So that could be
I'd
interesting.
love to see that.
I don't know if they'd still stick with Hawaii.
Same
Part
plot,
of me
yeah.
thinks they should, just because of that. It's
They
so
should
ridiculous.
just insist on sheer stubbornness that Winona Ryder is still 13.
Yeah, sure.
They could do that horrible de-aging thing that they're doing at the minute.
Yeah.
And just that would be
And
creepy.
go shorter as well, just somehow.
Yeah.
Digitally.
Love it. So obviously Michael Keaton plays Beetlejuice. Amazing actor. I love him. I find it really weird to watch him in this though because I never think it's Michael Keaton.
Yeah.
I don't know
Yeah,
why.
same.
I always forget that it's Michael Keaton.
There's one
Crazy,
bit,
isn't it?
it's the Showtime bit that just got really famous where I can see Michael Keaton in it, and then everything else is just his voice, his face, it's some other nut job. It's not
Crazy.
him, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's said to people on the internet say this is like one of his best performances, and like even though he's not in the film that much, because apparently it's worked out to be he's in it for like 17.5 minutes in total. That's how much like screen time he gets.
Wow.
Even though he's in it for such a little time, he's such a good character. Like, Joe, you probably know this with your theme park knowledge. He's the best character to meet in Universal Studios. He's amazing. Like, honestly, he's great. He just walks around and just is so like awkward and sarcastic and just. He's just such a good character, and it's crazy for someone who has a headline of a movie and is only in it for 17 minutes. And I genuinely think that is all down to Keaton and his portrayal of it, because...
for those who don't know, it's not Michael Keaton at the actual Hollywood studios. They don't like...
Oh, God, no!
To walk around.
He's got other things going on.
That's what he does these days, you know, he just walks around Hollywood studios dressed as Beetlejuice. I mean, I can imagine he's maybe done it at least once. Like, did everyone read that time just after Pirates of the Caribbean came? Oh, no. It was at some point, but Johnny Depp went and actually like went into the ride and pretended as his character and was just scaring people in the ride.
Do we all know what
Michael Keaton could do that?
Do we all know what Bill Murray does with his spare time?
Go on.
Supposedly, he goes to restaurants and like steals people's food off the plate. Like he'll take a chip, and then he'll just say, "No one will believe you." Walk away.
Do you know what? I'd love to be famous just for that, just to do weird things and get away with it.
Oh man, that's amazing.
Like...
I kind of want him to do it to me though. Like, I'd want him to I'd be like, "Oh man, Bill Murray stole my chip, man," and they'd be like, "No, they didn't." And you're like, "That's exactly what he said."
Love that. So another thing that I found really interesting is that apparently 90% of Beetlejuice's like lines are ad-libbed by Keaton, which is quite interesting. I find it, especially considering he's only in it for such a short time, to think that most of that he just thought on the spot. If that is true, that's quite cool. I found that rather interesting. But and of course, Alec Baldwin plays Adam. And I'm not gonna lie, it took me until half the film to go, holy shit, that's Alec Baldwin.
Yeah, same.
Because I've never seen him young.
Yeah.
Like, it freaked me
He's
out.
just been old forever. Like, he was just born an old...
Do you want to know
like
why, whenever I think of him, all I think of is bloody Cat in the Hat.
Yeah? Oh, you know what?
He
As
is
soon
in
as you
that
said
film.
his name,
Yeah.
that bit where he's, like, trying to force the fucking military on the mum just popped into the head and he's just chilling.
That's all
and
I
he's
think
like,
of.
"Military buffer boys," or whatever. It's like, alright, Alex, calm down.
I don't know him
He's
from
in
like
that fucking
Mission
mad
Impossible.
purple suit.
He is in Mission Impossible. That is him in it.
I've never seen it.
Later
yet.
ones.
I want to say yeah.
I'm sure he's
I'd
in
like
those.
to think that he is.
And Donald Trump on SNL.
Yeah, the Trump sketches.
Oh, I always
Fucking
forget that he does
loves
that.
being Donald Trump.
They were good.
Oh, man.
Allegedly, he hates it, but he keeps doing it. And then he did that book.
Yeah.
Because when the impeachment started, topical politics. When the impeachment started, immediately people were like, "Oh, you're going to come back and parody this, right?" And he was like, "Do you know what? I hate doing it, but I probably will." And I think he did.
I mean, money, I guess. Like, it's like fucking, Harrison Ford playing Han Solo again. And he's like, "Oh man, I hate Han Solo." And there's that thing where he's on, I can't remember which Jimmy Knight show he's on, but they bring out the figure with Han Solo and he's like ripping the figure apart. And it's like, "Oh man, I hate that character." "Oh, you're gonna pay me lots of money to bring him back?" Okay, I see where you're going with this.
I really enjoy actor who genuinely seem to hate it. Alec Guinness in the background of your room there, Jacob. You can that painting of him has literally got a 1,000-yard stare as he gazes off and is like, "Fucking hell, fucking Star Wars, man, fucking George Lucas, fuck this shit, fucking hell."
You're so right. Genuinely.
He probably thought of himself as such a serious British actor.
Yeah.
Now I'm in a space opera.
I reckon, right, that he wasn't even... Have you ever heard, like, read the stories about, like, Star Wars and stuff when they're filming it? That, like, was it Mark Hamill? When they were filming it, he wasn't, like, proper up his own arse, you know what I mean? Like, he was I read, like, a thing or watched something with Mark Hamill, I think it was. And they were just talking, and he gave him, like, loads of acting tips and stuff. And then it's like afterwards, when he's done all these other films, and everyone's like, "Oh my god, you're Obi-Wan from Star Wars," and he's like, "What? That wasn't British, but you know." But because I saw an interview with him, and he was talking about Star Wars like just after the first one came out, And he doesn't even, like, you don't get the sense from him that he doesn't like it, you know what I mean? It's just another movie, and then it blew up the way it did. And then he's like, you know, like, why am I remembered for this thing? It's just a bunch of, like, kids fighting each other, and I'm just the old man. Like, what? And then, I mean, so I suppose I can get it. But then he still came back as a ghost in the other two. So, what are you doing, Alec? I mean, I can't remember if he was in... Was he in Empire? Yeah, he was. He was the Dagobah bit, wasn't he?
Yeah.
So he still did all of that. Like, you know, what a guy. But money.
What a guy.
Speaking of ghosts, Beetlejuice.
Bringing it
Yes!
back.
Great segue. There we go. I knew there was a reason why we keep you around.
Oh!
Alright,
I'm joking.
Fine.
I am really joking. We have Winona Ryder playing Lydia. What did you? So yeah, we kind of touched on it a bit. What did you think about Lydia's character before obviously we get into the whole storyline? And what did you think? Because I think she's quite cool. I don't know why, but I feel like before going into this movie, all I'd ever seen was her all over like goth Instagram pages. I mean, like, who is this chick with a pointy fringe? What's this? It's interesting, but I'm all for it. Because obviously this is one of like the big films that she's obviously really like remembered for, which I think is quite cool. Apparently she really likes it, which is great. But yeah, and then obviously the last big name that I want to talk on is obviously Cathy O'Hara. I think I'm saying that right. The mum in oh my gosh, Home Alone.
Yeah.
She's in it.
Oh yeah.
She also did the voice of Sally in Nightmare Before Christmas.
Oh, was that her?
Did she?
That's
even
her.
know.
Yeah,
I
and she
didn't
did
know
all the
that.
singing. Yeah, amazing. And obviously that is a Tim Burton film.
Oh.
So that I thought
Well, to be
was
fair,
like,
guy
a
as
lot
well.
of this cast keeps showing up in Burton's movies.
Yeah.
yes.
Isn't
Definitely.
the dad in this? Isn't he the guy from
Ferris Bueller.
He
Yes.
plays the teacher,
Jeffrey
doesn't
Jones.
he?
No, yeah, Jeffrey
Yeah.
Jones. Yeah, that's his name.
He's in Thingy as well, isn't he?
I recognise this face.
Tim
Dunno.
Burton's Sleepy
Beetlejuice.
Hollow. He's in that as well. I'm pretty sure.
Is
yeah.
he?
I think he's in Sleepy Hollow as well. Yeah. I mean,
Does he
I'm
play
not
the
one
same
of
character in that as well as he does in the other two films? Just some doofus bumbling along trying to just make
I
shit
actually think he
happen.
might do. Yeah.
I mean,
I think so. Yeah.
Amazing.
he's just the same character.
Literally,
Works, and he's funny, but he's just the same.
yeah. Just the same. Yeah. There's no acting needed. He just plays himself. That's what he's like in real life. You know what I mean? Sad.
Well, there we go. Oh, there we go. Before we move on as well, there's just two things I wanted to mention before we get into the plot. Have you seen the way that Beetlejuice is spelt, like, originally? Not the one that's used in, like, the title and the title card, and, like, probably what we'll put for this episode.
The one that's in
Have
the
you actually
movie.
Yeah, the way they...
Geese or something.
Beetle guys.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the one. Apparently that is taken because it's one of the stars in the Orion constellation, and apparently it's the one furthest out and in the most darkness.
Ah.
Don't know if you guys want to analyse that more. We don't have time, so straight up.
Facts, there we go.
I just thought I'd get that one out of my book of wonder. Okay, so let's get on to this plot. So obviously it starts with a very The Shining intro, done it, with this whole like quaint little town. Apparently it's based in Connecticut. I found that out. Don't know if that even matters to
I don't
anyone.
know.
They mention it briefly. So I remember thinking for ages, like, they don't have any glaringly obvious, we're set here. Then at some point when they're talking about real estate, or you've got the guy back in New York, he's like, oh, why would I want to go to some shithole in Connecticut?
Yeah.
Oh, so it is mentioned.
I
I
think
must
they
have missed
mention
that.
it, yeah.
Yeah.
That's good. And so obviously, we get introduced to this like really quaint little town. It's lovely. He's like, Adam's building like this cute little model. It's all so cute, and they've just got married. And why would you want to go on holiday when you can stay here? All really cute, all great. Then this bloody way too chill dog just comes out of nowhere on the way home. I rewatched that scene so many times. He's way too
It's
chill.
well funny.
Like,
Yeah.
I was in hysterics.
it's when he's just like, they look around the back and he's just like stood on the plank,
that
and
plank.
it's just like, I'm gonna get off. I love that bit. I absolutely love that. I really wanted to look into the dog and find out, you know, what's his claim to fame, but I didn't get time, so I'm really sad about that. So I apologise.
Dead.
Dog.
Thanks.
Saying.
Probably, but
Obviously, I want to know if, like, Did the dog didn't get a name, did it? I mean, obviously it's just a dog, but like a lot of the
I
time,
don't think so.
weirdly, they always do the thing where like dogs have the dog in real life is always named the same as what it is in the film. The only example I can think of is in The Wizard of Oz. The dog that plays Toto was actually called Toto in real life, and I don't know if that's like a training thing.
I suppose it makes it easier if like the actor just says the dog's real name and the dog will respond.
Yeah,
kind of makes sense.
Yeah, that would be a lot easier.
What if that dog's in something? It's called like John or something, and like you go like John, and it's like not me. My name's Carl, bitch. Like, that, you know what I mean? Like, I was wondering that.
Would name
like,
a dog John?
I don't know.
If you're out there, your dog's called John.
There must be one.
Sure.
It's not. It's not called John. Even if your dog is called John, it's not called John now.
No.
Not rename it for you. Like, what would even be like an alter? Like, what's like a dog version of John? Like
Jono?
Rover.
Max.
I said Baxter,
Rover.
not Maxter, but yeah.
Oh, I said Max. I actually know someone with a dog called Max though, so you know. And
Max isn't a great example because that's also a person's name in it.
Yeah, exactly. So, we know someone called Max. So,
apologies, Max.
Shout out to Max.
Sorry. Shout out to Max.
Oh, while we're doing shout out to Kat, who said that she loved our episode last week. Big up, Kat. Big love. So yes. So sorry. Where were we? Yes. So they obviously get back home, covered in water. The viewers believing... At this point, I was straight up like, oh, they got out. Holy shit.
Yeah, same.
Fair dues. Wow. And then, obviously, we see the handbook for the recently deceased. And you're like, oh, they're dead. Yeah. That makes sense. Apparently, throughout the whole of the film, Tim Burton made the decision to not have them completely wet. Because in the world, the whole idea is that however you die, that's how you are.
Thought that was
in that
odd.
moment for the rest of but he said he didn't want to make the rest of the cast uncomfortable. He said that he'd rather them just be like able to act normally instead of having them absolutely stopping wet, which if I was an actress I think I'd rather, because I don't want to be wet constantly. That's weird.
You can make the excuse that it was like death on impact rather than death by drowning.
Yeah no, that's actually quite a good idea. Actually, I didn't even think of that. What did we think as well, really quick, because obviously Adam steps outside, doesn't he? Because they're like going, oh, I'm just going to go outside, whatever. And then obviously they go outside and you're in like this whole, very, obviously it's the 80s, but this very crude green screen with like the sand stain.
It was good.
I love it. It's so weird.
For some reason, I've never seen it. It reminded me of Dune, or Dune, however you say that. You know that
it's
film?
Like psychedelic Dune. Yeah.
I don't know why.
Imagine Tim Burton.
I mean, that's got sandworms as well.
Well, there we go.
See, I knew I may have had the connection somewhere.
And obviously we learned that in this place, time is completely different, because he thinks he's only gone for like 2 minutes, but Barbara's like, you were literally gone for 2 hours. So that's really interesting. I like the idea of this random world. But I did a bit of research because I was like, what the hell is this place? This makes no sense. Apparently, you basically have to stay in one place for 125 years.
Yeah.
That's kind of the whole idea. So that's why you can't leave.
Just purgatory.
Yeah, which I find really interesting. Like, I hope I die in a nice place.
If you were to die right in the house, you have to stay there for 125 years. You just periodically just take hops to the sand place where time moves more quickly, and then just hop back again.
Interesting shout.
That way you could like live.
Did you just cheat the world?
I don't know how the maths works, but if he was 2 minutes 2 hour ratio, minute to an hour, you could spend a whole day in 24 minutes, just under half an hour, right?
Ah.
And then that's 3,000 and something days you've got to spend. Just spend 3,000 minutes, which is what? That's something maths. I don't know.
I say I'm awful at maths. I'm letting you take this one.
Currently, as we record, we've had 1,000 minutes of our show watched. So, all of you who've done that,
all you have to do,
if you can do that by triple, dodging sandworms, time in purgatory
completed,
gone.
Excited.
Get on that ghost web. Watch us.
Jacob, when you suggested that then, and you were like, say like you thought, what if you do it this way? And we're all like, oh yeah, maybe. I just imagined, the thing that popped into my head was, I imagined all the people or entities or whatever who like control death. They're just constantly watching everyone, ready for people to die. But they saw you say that, and then they were all just looking at each other like that, like, oh my god. And then I imagined one of them just, that scene in Revenge of the Sith when Mace Windu's pointing the lightsaber, and he's like, he's too dangerous to be kept alive. And that's what I imagined them doing when you've like cracked the code. And they're all conspiring
Holy
to like
shit, is Jacob about to drop down dead?
I'm going to meet a really untimely death all of a sudden, aren't I?
You're going to start like
Shit.
seeing the Grim Reaper around, and he's just watching you like that. And like...
Can you imagine if you just went really stiff and just died?
Yeah.
I want like...
Episode over.
Everybody, you must watch until the end for live actual death.
You know what I want? I don't even want him to just die. I want like the Grim Reaper to show up and just in
Alright,
the door in the
Josh.
background.
It is.
No, I want the door in the background. Like, do you know that gif of Big Bird just kicking the door in and the door just falling off its hinges? Yeah. I want the Grim Reaper to do that and him just turn around and be like that, and he'd be like, just touch him and he's dead, leave. Don't even take the body or anything, so...
I'm going to be on edge for the rest of the episode now.
Stick around for that at the end, you know what I mean?
Shit, brilliant.
Love it. Oh my god, that's actually amazing. So then obviously we get introduced to the Dietz family. Good old Tim Burton set design and costume design here. Lots of black and white, lots of just very Tim Burton-esque things all about it. What do we think of, oh my gosh, her name has completely out of my mind. Delia. Yeah.
Delia.
What did you think of the mum, Delia? Because I'm not going to lie, she annoyed me.
Yeah.
I think we're meant to not like her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But she was frustrating.
She was so...
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of a better word or just another word for frustrating.
That kind of
you
sums it
smashed
up.
it. Yeah, annoying and frustrating, I guess.
Even just that she's so... That pause, that actually summed it up, to be fair to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's rather annoying. And like we said before, about... Oh my gosh, I'm actually losing my mind. Charles, the husband. He's just there, bless him, isn't he? He's just kind of there.
He's just like happily like, oh, let's just chill. The place is great.
Yeah.
Birds and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
Great life. Great time.
I love how he's all about like this like old American just architecture. He loves this old house. Yeah, he's got with like the most elaborate like I don't know if he's an interior designer or a designer of some kind. She's wacky, and this guy has got with her, which I find rather interesting. Like, I don't know how I feel.
You know?
Well, there we go.
Yes, exactly.
And then obviously we start the whole, I'm not sharing this house with these utter lunatics, and the haunting begins. I always think, whenever I think of the haunting, all I can think of is when Deborah is in the wardrobe and like they open it and she's just there hanging.
That's great.
And she just like peels away her
Oh,
face.
yeah.
Every time it still freaks me out. I know how it's done. I get it. But I don't know. It's freaky.
It's
to look
great
at.
fun. That whole haunting scene is amazing. Like when she holds, she's there like holding Adam's head with like a bloodied knife, and they just look right through him. It's great fun.
That was actually, as soon as they said, oh, we can't be seen, and the first thing that happens is they go, and look at the wardrobe, and they see her there, I'm like, wait, no, hang on. And then, when they do the second bit, and she's there holding his head with a knife, why can't they see the knife?
Interesting shout. I don't know.
Oh, you just broke it.
Sorry.
The Grim Reaper's coming after you
Sorry,
again.
everybody.
See, now
it's
it's
good.
Tim
Maybe
Burton
that
that's
is a
watching
movie
this,
mistake.
he's like, can't be kept
It's
alive.
too dangerous to be kept alive.
Turns out the
Just
Grim
Tim
Reaper is Tim Burton.
Tim Burton's but literally going to kick down the door behind you like...
That's what it is
Grim
the whole
Reaper.
time, yeah. That's why he made this film, to give us a hint of what the afterlife is like.
I'm
my
hanging another one
God.
now. Bloody hell.
Oh my gosh, I love it. So obviously that doesn't work. And so obviously Lydia's kind of a bit suspicious to it all. Because throughout the film it's kind of said that she's obsessed with death. And obviously like being this like stereotypical goth.
Yeah.
She's obviously obsessed with this whole thing. I was trying to work out, I don't know if you guys could shed some light on it for me. Because I can't for the life of me remember why she can see them. Is it because she finds the book for the recently deceased and it kind of is like a gateway between her and the dead world or whatever? Or is it just because she believes in it, therefore she can see it?
I think it's more that.
that.
She spots them
Okay.
before finding the book and stuff, so I think it's just that she's more...
She does in the
materially
window, doesn't she?
connected.
Yeah, doesn't she take
Yeah.
a picture
Yeah.
or something? Oh, I can't remember. Like,
I forgot about that.
The book says that the living won't see them, not that the living don't. It's just they won't. They don't think that they're a thing, so they just won't see them. But if you think that it's a thing and you believe in it, then you will. I think that's how it works.
Okay.
Okay, that's good. I wanted to get you guys' idea on that because I thought that was quite interesting. Before we get onto it as well, those pictures where they're stood in the ghost sheet.
Amazing.
They are honestly so... I just wanted to recreate them. They're so
Want a
ridiculous.
copy of an actual one, yeah.
Like, they're just kind of... Like, you can just... Like, even though you don't see their faces, you can kind of just imagine them like... Ooh! Like, I love it. I absolutely love it. And then obviously we get introduced to the whole netherworld, it's called, where they go to the waiting room to talk to, like, all of those people. Really quick fun fact, which I'm sure you guys have seen in your research. You know the magician's assistant who sat there obviously like cut in half? It's great. The legs are actually Tim Burton's then girlfriend.
Whoa.
Oh.
Which makes it even weirder. Joe, you've probably seen it as well then. In the end scene, when Keaton's like feeling up the legs. Literally, Tim Burton's going to have to have watched that, and I feel a bit sad for
Tim
him.
Burton's going to have to have told him to do that.
Yeah, even worse.
Cooked himself.
Oh, you know what though? I'd actually imagine if he didn't tell him to do that, and it's just Michael Keaton's like, "Oh, this is your girlfriend," just like there to try and like piss him off, and you just imagine him like sat behind like a monitor watching, just like on his chair, and he's just like, "Oh, you motherfucker," like that. Just him getting like well pissed off about it. But it's Michael Keaton, so what are you gonna do, man? You know what I mean? But.
Oh, exactly. What are you gonna do?
What are you gonna do?
One thing I find really interesting, which you kind of hear a little bit further on in the story, but I'll put it in here, because it's obviously the first time we actually see the waiting room. Otho, I think that's how you say his
Otho,
name.
yeah,
the friend.
yeah.
Otho, is that it? He basically states, I'm pretty sure it's him, he says everyone who commits suicide becomes a civil servant in the afterlife, which kind of explains most of the people in that whole constitution. For example, the lady on the reception, she goes, that would have made things easier for me or whatever. She has slit wrists.
Oh, that's such like a brutal, like, was it with the Miss Argentina band she had going on, and then she like slit her wrists because she was just too Miss Argentina or something. And then just killed herself. I was like, oh,
There's that dude that's like hung himself, and he's just like swinging all the way through the offices. It's well funny.
Did you ever see that viral video where it was like, it's a zip wire around like a kid's fun thing, and it's like I literally hung there like I was dead just to scare all the kids, and it literally is just a guy hanging on this zip wire like swinging side to side. I will send it to you later, and I'll get you to put it in the links down, because oh my god, it's amazing. And that reminds me of that guy, like you say, hanging by his neck. Absolute like comedy genius. So that happens. They go and speak to her. Her name's Juno, I believe. And yeah, she basically states the whole, you've got to stay there for 125 years, so like get used to it, like you're fine. I don't think Beetlejuice has been introduced yet.
Nope.
No, mate, is that where we haven't seen the video yet, have we? Where it's like, get on down. I don't think so. And yeah, so obviously then they come back, and I think that's when we see Beetlejuice. I'm trying to remember. I wrote down an order, but I'm just like, why did I write such brief notes? Like, I've ruined it for myself here, but that's fine. We'll keep going. So yeah, like I say, we're about, I think it's 20 to 25 minutes in. It's quite far in, and that's when we see Beetlejuice, which is crazy. Again, like we said earlier, he's only in it for a short amount of time, and it's crazy that he only comes into it really like at the end of the first act, if we're going to call it that. And I just love how we first see him, like an annoying car salesman. Like, just
I thought we
get
saw
on
him a bit
down.
before that, didn't we? He's chilling with a newspaper.
You don't sort of see him. You see like his arm, and he finds Adam and Judy in the like obituary section.
Yes,
and
oh
he's
my
like,
gosh, yeah.
target them.
Oh yeah.
Adam and Judy, Adam and Barbara. Who's Judy?
Whoever you want it to be. So, do you guys kind of know the idea of where Beetlejuice came from and like why he decides to become a bioexorcist and all this?
No.
Nope.
No.
I know that
Basically,
they said he was he was Juno's assistant or something, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's yes, 100%. I haven't really, I couldn't really find anything into what he was before he died. So if any of you guys found any of that, that's amazing. But I couldn't find anything. But yeah, he's basically her former assistant, which is why he's obviously been banished, and he's trying to like get on back because he's a little bitch. And then we obviously have the very famous Deo, me say Deo scene. I love it. I remember I've seen that scene for so many times, and thinking, what the hell is going on in this film? But this looks crazy. And then when you actually watch it, it kind of makes sense. Like, I kind of love it. It's so ridiculously weird and mad. But yeah, what did you guys like think about that whole scene? It's a bit weird, isn't it?
It's great fun. It's ridiculous, and I think it goes on a bit too long.
I get what you mean.
The choice of song is also odd. I'd say even a little bit problematic, but it's all the haunting stuff in this is great fun. Tim Burton, without the freedom to go mad with CGI, has so much personality.
Yeah.
No, I agree. I like the realism of his films, like you say.
Like when he's got to rely on really zany actual like character actor stuff or stop motion instead of the freedom to do whatever with computers, it always comes out like it's so unique. Even if it's the sort of thing that like turns you off, it's a style, and that's something a lot of directors just don't have, honestly. They just come in, do a film, and then who's that guy? Who did Trolls, you know? Who's that guy?
I want to know now.
But Tim Burton,
We'll get there.
recognizable, and it's because he does scenes like this. I thought it was good fun.
Yeah, I love him. I think he's got such a cool style.
Like, what had he done? Is this like... I can't think... What had he done before this? Like, was there any like major films that he'd done before this?
I don't know about major releases, but I've seen a thing he did when he was very early on in the business called... I think it's called Victor?
Is this the one with the Edgar Allan Poe style, like, poem over it?
Yes.
Or is it an Edgar Allan Poe story? No, it's not.
It's not. It's very similar styled. So it's this little stop motion about this little kid, and the idea is... No, it's not Victor, it's Vincent. The idea is it's Vincent Price, like the Vincent Price character, essentially, the spooky narrator, as if it was a real child who like did like fucked up things. Like I think he kills his dog or something like this. Like it's really like messed up, and it's this like 30-minute short film that I think he funded it all himself and stuff like this. But it's got his style definitely in it. I don't know if he did something after this, like just before Beetlejuice, but like I think that's one of the things that made him stand out to people.
Just googled it. He did Vincent in 1982, but he did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 9-ish other short films.
Fair dues.
But
was this
seeing this has actually triggered me to think of something else. Carry on, Joe. Before I carry on.
I was just saying, is this his? This was his like first feature film then?
No, basically, it's made me think of a story actually that I did research. So obviously, with the casting of Beetlejuice being Michael Keaton, originally, do you guys know who Tim Burton wanted to play Beetlejuice?
Was it Robin Williams?
I know that it...
No. Weirdly enough, no.
so they wanted Michael Keaton, but they offered it to Robin Williams so that they get Michael Keaton to do it instead. Right?
And that's where they got the idea to do it for Jack Nicholson? Oh,
boom.
Bastards. Sons of bitches.
Green hair, white face, everything.
Oh, yeah,
it all makes
literally.
sense. It all makes sense.
I mean, I knew that I knew that they didn't want Mike. No, he didn't. He wasn't thinking of Michael Keaton. I knew that. I don't know who he was gonna have instead. But wasn't it the studio that wanted Michael Keaton or suggested Michael Keaton?
Yeah. So basically, originally, Tim Burton wanted Sammy Davis Jr.
Oh yeah, yeah.
The swing singer and Frankie Sinatra guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, honestly, really weird when you think about it.
I really love it, like, on this, when we do this thing where we say, like, oh yeah, we were going to do this alternative person, this is who they're going to cast instead, big reveal, and then everyone who doesn't know who it is are just kind of like, And then it clicked. Like that's what Jacob and Sam just did then. And then it clicked who it was, and Sam was like, "Oh yeah."
I think I know, but I'm not.
He sung Mr. Bojangles, if you know that song.
I do know that song. Now I
Yeah,
know what it's about.
he
Okay.
sung that song. But this is where it connects to what we were just saying. So basically, the first film that Tim Burton did was in 1985, and that was Pee-wee's Big Adventure. Like Pee-wee's like the American version of Mr. Bean. If you guys,
I didn't know they did that.
Yeah, that was his first major motion picture, and apparently, so Keaton had been offered the role at this point, and he was like, don't really know, I don't think this is for me. He watched Pee-wee's Big Adventure, and apparently he had like this, I get it, I totally get it, yeah, I'll do it kind of moment. So that's quite interesting.
I mean,
Yeah, have you ever
sure,
seen
I guess.
Pee-wee? He's actually quite scary.
Yeah, like weird.
He's very odd.
Well, Pee Wee Herman.
Yeah, Pee-wee Herman. Yeah.
Have you seen that PSA where he tells you not to do crack?
No.
I've seen that, yeah.
It's insane. It's like Pee Wee Herman looking dead into camera, like dead in the middle of frame. He's in like the void. There's just like the blackness behind him and this light shining on him, and he goes, "Okay, kids, this is crack cocaine." It's like telling you about all the dangers of doing crack, but in that like horribly like creepy Pee Wee Herman voice. It's fucking bizarre, man.
I'm googling that later.
Yeah.
Interesting.
That is amazing. And then he went on to do Batman, then Edward Scissorhands, yada yada yada, and the rest is history, as they say. We were talking about the Deo dance. Really interesting fact. Did you know that Cathy O'Hara also meet her soon-to-be husband on this film? I don't know if they're still together. That's one thing I didn't actually look at. But he's called Beau Welch. Welch, I think we're saying that right. Welch. And he was the production designer. And apparently the story goes that Tim was basically saying, "Oh, you should go over and talk to her," and all this, and then they got together, and the rest is history. If they haven't split up. So I find that really cute. I don't know why. I love it when I find out like things where people have like met on set and they're still together and they've had kids. And I think that's well cute.
Agreed.
That's just me.
Thing you want. There's someone famous. Do you remember? I mean, anyone seen the newest Mad Max, The Fury Road? And there's the one with the guy who plays the guitar. And he's like, like the fire's coming out the top. He's married to someone famous, and I can't remember who it is.
Oh really?
Yeah, I'm gonna find out, and then I'll.
I was gonna say,
we'll just
let
be
us
on.
know, and
Yeah, we'll just be on like a completely unrelated topic, and I'll be like, "Oh yeah, by the way, that guy."
honestly,
Right,
just
this
blurt
person.
in because that sounds rather interesting. So yeah. We're quickly jumping back, when they go and see Beetlejuice, I find it really interesting that, I don't know if you guys noticed, the F-bomb is said.
Yeah.
So it's like, nice
PG,
fucking
isn't it, as
model.
well?
It's a PG.
Yeah.
So apparently the PG-13 rating had been introduced, but apparently this one just slipped through, and it ended up with a PG. And this is one of like the few to have an F-bomb in it.
This is something that's really odd, I thought, because I have Beetlejuice on Blu-ray right here. And that is not a PG. That says 15.
That must be
And the
because of
whole
F-bomb.
time I was watching this, and I was like, this is a 15? How?
Yeah.
How? And apparently just contains strong comic horror. Nothing about swearing.
Well, that's the thing is,
Comic
because
horror.
there's your sudden F-bomb, is your whorehouse, and is your
Oh my god, your
comic,
makes just start skipping towards it.
comic horror, like overly gory, blood coming out of a face, but to the point that it's just funny.
Yeah.
But it's God, what was I watching that someone described this as? It was has anyone seen Good Omens?
No, not yet.
No.
I would say it's good though.
Everyone watched Good Omens. It's fantastic. But that show would be perfectly acceptable for people of all ages. Really good family show. Nothing's in it that's visually scary or intense or anything. But every so often, David Tennant just lets a fuck out. And it's bizarre. And it seems tonally just weird. Because it's the same thing in this, because he says the fuck word, but he's in a little model house and it looks like, everything's a toy. It's very strange.
It almost doesn't go, does it?
It sets the tone quite well.
Yeah.
Just being a bit off.
Love that.
What was that thing with? Is it Breaking Bad? where they wanted to retain the 15 rating or something, so they dropped like one F-bomb per season, and it like got to a point where they were only used at really good scenes. Like I can't think of one off the top. I can think of one off the top of my head, but it'll ruin it for anyone who's not seen it, so I don't want to say it. But yeah, there's only like one F-bomb in the entire of each season, and I'm sure it's because they were only allowed to use it once to keep the 15 rating. If they used it more than once, then it would go up, I think. That might be completely bullshit, but I don't know.
It's a weird threshold, that.
I mean, that's a joke I've been waiting for it forever, especially since Deadpool's now in the MCU, for him to end up in a 12A movie and start joking about like when he's going to use his one F-bomb.
Yeah.
I like that.
I really like...
I want him to like he'll call it a fuck bomb by mistake, and that'll be it. I'm looking forward to use my fuck bomb. Oh, and that'll be it.
Yeah.
That'll be
you
it.
know what? I hope that's
that
it. Yeah.
That would be good. That would actually be
And then for the rest of the movie, he has to find like creative ways of avoiding swearing.
I want him to state at the beginning that he's got to change it. Like he's got to say like duck or something instead of the F-bomb.
I reckon that'd be quite creative. I like the sound of that.
Yeah, I want him to just... And then he would actually... Would they make the joke that they did in fucking... What was it? In Age of Ultron, where he's like, what's your language or something like that? Would that be like a joke when they'd be like, oh, like... I don't know. I'm trying to think, like... Maybe. I don't know. I don't know where I'm going with this, but...
It's fine.
Thanks.
I couldn't find who that flamethrower guy was, by the way. Sorry. Sorry to disappoint you.
Oh, shame.
I gave up.
So obviously the whole dance does not work. More than anything, it pushes them to want to stay. And they're basically like, oh my god, we can make a business venture out of this. Like, we're going to start selling tickets to the haunted house, we've got ghosts, holy shit. Which I find quite funny, and I just think that's quite a good idea. So it's like, what we're going to do is we're going to invite my big boss to dinner. Charles's boss is going to come over, and that's like what you said at the beginning, where it's like, why the fuck would I come down to Connecticut and all this, which I find really cool. It gets going really quickly. Suddenly, like, you get this song, and it's like, oh shit, okay, a lot's happening now. And that's really cool. So then obviously we get the whole scene where, how did you say his name again?
I think it's Ortho.
Ortho. He obviously has stolen the book of the recently deceased. He's nicked that. And he decides to hold a seance to summon them. And obviously they actually do get summoned. They get like completely just brought away from where they are. It's great. I still find, because they start to decay, I know, like I said with the other ones, I don't know, maybe this is why it's a 15, because like, even though it's fake, and it's an old movie, it's all makeup and, like you say, just like little stop motion animation clay, it's still weird to look at. I don't know if that's just me because I'm like an absolute scaredy cat, but I don't know.
I know what you mean.
I find it creepy.
I find that it's a completely different genre of film, but it's a similar thing. Like, I don't know if you've ever seen The Thing, the one from 1980.
I know. I want to watch the original one first.
No, but you know what? You know that it's not real, and obviously the film's famous for its like amazing practical effects. It's all thingy, but fucking hell, is it terrifying when you're looking at it? Like, it's fake, but there's just something about it. And
there's almost something more scary, isn't there, when you see an actor's head change into the really obviously like fake one, and it's like this isn't as horrifying as if they use CGI to make it like a real head, but now I know something's going to happen to that head, and I've got to prepare for it.
That's the thing in The Thing. That happens in it, and it's like the character, but like it's just it looks so unnatural that it's It's like, have you ever seen you ever watch when those like you watch those like videos like top unsolved murders or whatever, and then it shows you a picture of what police have, like, say there's like a body who's too decomposed. We're talking about ghosts, and it's Halloween, so it's fine to talk about this. There's like a body, they find it 20 years after or whatever, too decomposed, but they use like computer or whatever to redesign what they think the face looked like, and it's just absolutely fucking terrifying because the eyes are huge and they're like taken from a bunch of different parts, and it looks like that, and that's what makes it scary because it just looks wrong. Like, it's familiar.
No, I agree.
It's like when you're playing a game and like the facial animations are a bit off. It's
familiar.
familiar,
It's that whole, like,
but it's
uncanny
kind of
valley
scary.
thing,
Because
isn't it?
I was just about to say, do you think this comes into the uncanny
Yeah.
valley then, where
Yeah,
we know we're kind of a bit like, what?
Yeah.
Like, you just don't really quite get it.
like it's not so much scary. It's more that it just makes you feel uncomfortable when you're looking at it.
Yeah.
And that's what's
Totally.
kind of the scare element, because it's, I don't know. I mean, I prefer to have that feeling from a film though, unless
Yeah.
it's like an actual horror film that's meant to scare you, I guess. But it's if the film goes for a more kind of makes you uncomfortable, makes you kind of like creeped out rather than full on screaming or whatever. But
I mean, that's I think one of the strengths of this film is that it loves playing with these concepts established by like far more intense horror films than it. Like one of the times that Adam and Barbara tried to scare the family away, and they stretch their faces out and like rip their jaws off.
Oh, I
and like
love
Barbara
that.
in particular is there with like a gaping jaw, this really long tongue, and then two little eyeballs sat on it. But they just
Yeah.
walk around like that for a bit, and it's fucking,
Yeah.
I was in hysterics. Like in this scene we're talking about now, where they get summoned and they start to decay. Adam tries to say something and his jaw falls off.
Yeah.
It's so funny.
There's the thing, it's like it's meant to be, like you say, scary, but because there is this underlying tone of comedy, like you just said, you just laugh at it and you
Yeah.
kind of forget it's meant to be scary, which is quite, I kind of like that.
Yeah.
I don't want to be too scared to the point where, like you say, like when modern horror films now, they just want you to pee your pants. We all want you to be scared and absolute. I guess that is the point of horror films. But like sometimes, yeah, I like the idea of being spooked, but not.
Yeah.
It's the level.
Scared.
It's the level that I prefer. Like I remember everyone, praises like the original Scream for being a really good satire of like slasher and horror films and stuff. But when I first like watched Scream, and there's the bit at the start where the girl's strung up on the tree and her guts are hanging out and stuff. Like, it's still done with ultra realistic like prosthetics and makeup, so it still just made me cringe and like flinch up rather than like laugh at it. Which is, this movie is much better at doing that.
yeah, like,
No, I agree.
Amelia, I don't know if you like saw this, but like I read a thing the other day that said that this film was originally going to just be a full-on horror film.
Yeah.
In the original version of it, like the car crash scene was going to be like really gruesome, or something like that. Which I don't know how it would work, because isn't the whole point that you don't know they've died immediately? I don't know. Maybe they reworked the script or something. I don't know. But yeah, originally it was gonna, and he wasn't even gonna be thing. He wasn't like the character of Beetlejuice wasn't gonna be a kind of like, there was gonna be no comedic elements to him. He was gonna be like a murderer and like a rapist, and like he was gonna be like just this horrible demon thing.
Did you
And,
know
like,
though?
he
He was
just
meant to be a
wouldn't have-
small Middle Eastern man.
Yeah, that was what it was gonna be.
that
It was
really
gonna be,
weird.
and it's like that wouldn't. I don't think that would have worked. It would have just been some
Not
kind
at
of
all.
like B movie, like horror thing.
You
You
just-
don't
you'd
need to
hate
say,
him.
I can't imagine
Yeah,
this
he
film
wouldn't.
not being.
He wouldn't be such an iconic
Funny.
pop culture character
Yeah.
as he is
Yeah.
today, I think.
Like it just, it just wouldn't have been good. I just don't think it would have been as good. We wouldn't be talking about it now. I
No.
don't think if it was that. And
Not at all.
if Tim Burton had done it, I think it would have still been unique in the sense that it was Tim Burton, but it wouldn't have been a good way to use his talents. I don't think.
It's like
as
in
much as this did.
is it Mars Attacks that has some like really gory shit in it?
Oh, he
I
did
love
Mars
it.
Attacks as well, didn't he?
It's a great fun film, but like
Yeah,
some of
I
the
love
stuff
that
that goes a bit far in Mars Attacks, it just feels like, oh, this isn't Tim Burton. That was a bit too.
Yeah, like I know what you mean. Like, I actually watched that recently again. I always forget. Yeah, I watched that film and it doesn't feel like a Tim Burton film that much. I don't think.
Maybe he didn't have as much say on it then.
Maybe. I mean, I don't know much about that film, but just when I'm watching it, I don't know if it's just because we've like associated Tim Burton with being dark and gritty and not dark and gritty, but you know what I mean, like
No, but he's got
weird
this
and
tone, isn't
gothic
he? Yeah.
and thingy. Whereas that so much, it's not really like that. It's like all the aliens are these little green, they're aliens and they're all like being thingies and they're sewing heads onto dogs and things. And
Yeah.
it's weird. Yeah. It's
I
not really
think Tim Burton I would describe as whimsically spooky.
Yeah.
What's I mean?
100%.
like that film isn't. I wouldn't say it's like spooky at all. I wouldn't say.
Yeah, no, it's not.
Like it's a whole different kind of.
Like
but, you know.
this purring as well. Tim Burton of Danny Elfman. Like I almost can't think of a better director, composer like combination.
I love Danny Elfman.
Danny Elfman's music in this is at its absolute most Danny Elfman, and it's music that you can almost imagine a cartoon villain like tiptoeing around to. You know, it's that
with
sort
like
of,
the little yeah.
yeah, that's what it is. It's comical, it's whimsical, it's not spooky in like, oh, we're just going to play the strings and build the tension. It's like, let's have fun with this.
He's so good at writing music, because obviously his version of the Bat theme, one of my favourite pieces of music, just as a piece of
Stunning,
music.
isn't it?
Yeah.
Like, I was lucky enough to see that. We went to this like orchestral sci-fi music thing, and they played that, and oh my god, live it's incredible, which is like, I can't wait, because at the end of the year we're going to go and see Nightmare Before Christmas in concert, and Danny Elfman's conducting.
Nice.
Just to see his music in real life. Cathy O'Hara's meant to be there as well, singing. So like, just the idea of Danny Elfman's music honestly makes me so happy, because he's just such a cool. He did the Simpsons theme
Yeah.
as well, for those of you that didn't know.
I
did
The
not
Simpsons
know that.
theme.
His name is in the credits of every episode, so good job for missing that one.
Mad. Wow.
Yeah,
Right.
crazy.
Fair enough. I didn't know that. That's cool.
Mad, isn't it?
Mad.
So there you go. Yeah, good old Danny Elfman. I love him.
Yeah. What a guy.
Then we obviously have the very chaotic last half of the film, where obviously Lydia wants to try and save them, and so she runs. Oh no, does she try and save them, or does she run upstairs?
So Lydia is
I'm
trying
to
to
remember.
save them by bargaining with Beetlejuice, like come
That was
out
it, yeah.
and save them, please. But then he's like, I'll do it, but we're gonna get hitched, hon.
That whole scene is one of my favourite, because obviously that is obviously where the famous "I'm the ghost with the most, baby," like that comes from. And when he's playing like charades, he's just like, oh, you know, if you save me, I'm gonna have to go to, you know, bar mitzvahs and all these, and so many autographs. I could watch scenes like that over and over again, because it's like watching a comedy act. To me, I don't know, I find it really funny.
Yeah.
He's just so random. I love him. But yeah, what are you guys thinking? I'll move on otherwise.
I mean,
I think
Beetlejuice,
shows
like,
that
he has a concept of how old she's supposed to be, right?
I'd like to think.
Like,
I'd
I
like to
know he's
think.
supposed to be a bit of a pervert, but
The thing is
Ooh.
I almost think there was something missing here, because the sudden oh, I'm gonna get married to this girl, it almost feels too random. I know he's
Yeah,
been
it
doing
was
lots of just
very out
random
of the
fun
blue.
things, becoming a weird snake and whatever. But I almost think I had to invent this step of logic where if he marries her, then like, can he stop having people having to use his name? Does he get to come back from the dead? Like, is there something going on here? Some sort of ritual?
The reason isn't really explained, is it?
Like, I feel it is just a gut feeling, but I do feel like something was cut.
Maybe.
yeah.
Yeah, I didn't find
it did
any
feel like
information, but it would make sense.
It's
Yeah.
sudden extra tension for presently at the movie, just the sake of having sudden extra tension, just an extra thing to deal with before we finish with the movie. So it feels more like something's been cut, because like before this, everything's been quite nice and tight, and you know, it doesn't feel like we're just like doing things for the sake of doing them. It's a well written movie up until that point, so it feels like more like something's been cut rather than something wasn't done.
Yeah, I feel like there might have been a scene where you've got the what are their names? The two people who died. What we calling them?
Barbara and Adam.
Yeah, those two. There was a scene when they went to the weird purgatory place. I reckon then if they could have asked, oh, can we find out how we can stop being dead? And at that point they could have gone through a list of like loopholes or like ways you can do it, and one of them that they could have mentioned at that point is marry someone living or whatever. If it was mentioned earlier on, I feel like it would have been less of a weird, just sudden, instantaneous, oh yeah, gotta marry this girl. The
I
tension.
googled it, because this was annoying me,
Ooh.
just as like you guys.
Answer.
It's literally taking me to a Reddit thing. There's no official answer.
Okay.
But people
Sure.
in the comments are all basically saying, and one of the top voted ones is like, it basically compares it to, how does an immigrant get to stay in the country that's not of their own? By getting married. So therefore, how does a dead person get to stay in the land of the living?
So
By
what is
getting
that?
married.
I mean, he does
So
say
I
he does.
think
He
it
does
is for
make a
him to
green
come.
card joke just before
Yeah.
Lydia
Yeah.
agrees to do it. So
Maybe then. So yeah, maybe he just wants to get back into the living to be able to cause, like you say, mischievous havoc.
Yeah.
Love that. And then yeah, so we had this whole scene with that very scary kind of small guy who's like trying to marry them after he's like done, like he's come out of the thing with this carousel and the very elaborate thing. I just remembered as well, this is me being an utter nerd as well, I have a notebook with this exact thing on it. So there's the house,
Huh.
and then there's the sandworm.
Whoa,
That literally,
that's
sorry, that
cool.
literally just came into my head, and I don't know why. I completely forgot I own
Because
this.
we're talking about Beetlejuice.
That's really
Probably,
weird.
probably
I
why
really
you remember it,
apologise.
to be honest.
That's so weird. I apologise, that literally just came into my head. So he comes out the ground. This is where we see, like you were saying, Joe, about the Batman references. Because he's got obviously like little bat wings, and it's really cool. And he's like, right, let's get the show on the road. And yeah, that whole scene where he just like wreaks havoc is pretty great. And then yeah, obviously he has to get hitched. So that scary little guy comes out, and he's just like just chilling. And it's just like, oh, we need, what do you call it? Not witnesses, but like he brings them all over basically to watch. And then apparently Barbara's riding the sandworm. I didn't notice
Yeah,
this.
she does. She rides
Yeah,
it.
yeah, she does. Yeah,
She just,
I
all of a
didn't
sudden
know-
she
I
can
didn't
just
know
ride the
about that.
sandworm and crashes through and just
yeah, it's well
crashes
funny.
him back into the underworld. All of
I
us.
genuinely didn't see her riding
No,
it, and so
yeah,
when
she was
I
riding it.
researched, I was like, what?
Because earlier on she like hit one on the nose or something, and it went and just kind of fucked off back onto the sand. And then later she was just riding one.
Mate,
I like to say,
Sandworm.
I like to think that it was the same one, and she's gone, oi, if you don't let me ride you and crush
know what's
Michael
coming.
Keaton through the floor, I'm gonna boop you on the fucking nose, mate, and you're not gonna like it.
Boop.
Yeah. But, yeah,
Oh, I love that.
bit odd.
And then so the ending, where obviously they're all in the house together. Upon first viewing, I had one idea of what happened, but then when I actually was Googling it and I looked at the official plot summary, it's not what I thought at all. So what do you guys think obviously happens in that end scene where they're all together in the house? Do we think they're all dead? Do we think they're all alive? What do we think?
Oh, I
Sharing
just
the house, aren't they? Just so
Yeah, that's
they
what I
just carried
assumed it
on
was.
going. So they
Yeah.
were allowed
Yeah,
to
that-
redecorate.
and Lydia
the
essentially
house.
manages to get the parents that she wishes she had in Charles and Delia, but in Barbara and Adam. So she'll like stay with them, and they become the parent figures who are watching out for her grades and things like this and having a good fun time. Whereas Delia and Charles get to just fuck off and
Be like the legal
do whatever
living
they do.
guardians.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Because when I first saw this, I thought, oh shit, they're all dead now. I don't know
Fair.
why. I don't know if that's just me not fully, like, say, it just something not clicking. I originally thought that they'd all died, or this was so far down the line, and they'd all agreed to just haunt this house together. I don't know. So I kind of, when I found that out, I was like, oh, I kind of like the idea of them all being dead, because obviously she starts to float, doesn't she? So I was like, oh my god, she's a ghost! Oh my god! Like, but no, she is just flying.
Being possessed or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like I like the ending. It's quite a cute little ending. But the ending where we're obviously in the waiting room. Did you guys know that scene was very much added on after a test screening with the audience?
Felt like it. Yeah.
Felt
Yeah.
a bit like, okay, sure. We would have been happy without it, but we'll have it. Sure.
The sort of thing they put at the end of the credits now. If the movie
Yeah.
was released.
Yeah.
That's what I
today.
thought, actually, yeah.
No, that actually does sound like something they do today, like you say it right at the end. Yeah, apparently audiences loved the film, but were like, I want more Beetlejuice. So apparently they just filmed this scene. And yeah, it's just, I think it's like I say, it doesn't fit, it makes no sense. Like you say, it should be at the end of the credits, or like when the credits roll down the one half and then they've got like extras playing on the side. Like, but
Oh, yeah. Oh, they've
credits
not done that for a
completely.
while, have they, man?
They've not done that
That was
for
good
a
fun. I used to
while.
like that.
Yeah,
Put the
What?
blooper reel
You know
in
what?
there.
Yes.
that was it. Pixar
Since
bloopers.
you said that, though, actually, a film I watched the other day. Has anyone ever watched? The film came out the other day on Netflix. I'm not going to say his second name. The guy, he's in like The Hangover, and he does like the voice of Joker in
Zach Galifianakis.
That's the one.
Are you talking about Between Two Ferns?
Yeah. And they made the
I've
film.
I've watched like the first hour of it. I've not seen the end yet.
Like, I actually liked it. I like Between Two Ferns anyway.
I think it's funny.
And I like the film. I went in expecting it to be bad, and it wasn't. I mean, it wasn't the best film ever, but I enjoyed it anyway. But during the credits on that, they have outtakes while the credits are rolling. So we've just said that they don't really do it anymore, and it's literally that film came out like this month, and
There
they do
we
it
go,
in
bring
that,
it back.
and it's amazing because it's just the exact same outtake. It's just him asking the celebrity the question, and the celebrity just bursts out laughing. You know what I mean? It's the same one every single time, but you just love it because it's like, oh, all these people that I know and that I love, oh, they're human too. Oh. But yeah, so they still do it apparently though, yeah. Well, outtakes.
But yeah, so apparently this scene has been analysed, and then we'll end it there. Apparently people say that this is him like having to restart again or something. I saw a lot of theories that they think this is where he's kind of had to go back into the afterlife again, and he's starting again. So he's in the waiting room, he's just died again and all this basically, because he went to the land of the living, but has had to come back. There's loads of theories into it, to be fair. I just see it as a bit of fun, like you say. It's not too deep.
I don't feel there's like
not that deep,
much you
man.
can read into it, yeah.
Yeah,
No.
I don't think if they'd have done a sequel, I don't think it would have played into anything. They wouldn't have brought it up at all. Yeah.
No.
I think it's literally just a case of people wanted more of him to like, right, just do this. Like, just stick it on the end kind of thing. Like, I reckon it took him like 2 days to film it, you know what I mean?
He's kind of like the original Western Godzilla, who's just not in his own movies.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah, fair enough.
So yeah, that is Beetlejuice, and thank you guys so much for watching it. I appreciate
Enjoy it.
Nice.
We're at the
Amazing.
end.
So, as always, we're going to go through it one by one, giving any final thoughts, and we are all going to give it a score out of 10, and then I'm going to use maths to give it an overall score out of 100, and we'll see where it ranks on our objective best to worst films of all time. Start us off, Amelia.
Cool. So obviously I picked this one, so I'm going to be quite partial towards it, but I only saw this film literally a couple of weeks to a month ago for the first time, which is why I really wanted to show it, because I'm still on that kind of like fresh new movie. But yeah, I really liked it. I love it. I love the characters. I love how it's like, say we were talking about it, films being too long the other week. I love the fact that it's just short. It's a bit of fun. You can have a laugh with it, and then you can always watch it again, like you say, next week if you just want something in the background because it's that short. But yeah, I love it. I love Tim Burton. I love Danny Elfman. I love everything about it. And I'm going to give this a 9.
9.
Ooh.
Big score.
Big score. So, it's no secret that the last episode we did, or to be more precise, the Batman Forever episode even, not Baby Driver, Batman Forever, that was quite whimsical and a bit colourful and weird and wacky, and you just had to accept it, and I wasn't at all accepting of it. I'm not going to talk any more about that, whatever. This one, for me, is similarly whimsical and weird and wacky and funny, but I enjoyed it so much more. I think it was because it wasn't, in my mind, this was the first time I watched it. I watched it the first time this week, and I didn't have any other preconception of the characters or anything. Really enjoyed it, thought it was great. Honestly surprised it was a 15, as I mentioned, but I don't care. I'm older than 15. I can watch whatever the fuck I want. So, I loved it. I thought it was really good. I'm going to give it like a solid 8.
8. Joe.
So, like, this is one of those films where, like, it's been kind of around my, like, whole life, basically. Well, I mean, yeah, I suppose. But, like, my mate, for example, one of my mates was, like, really into Tim Burton when we were younger. So he would always talk about this film, and so I've kind of seen clips from it, and I feel like I've seen the whole film over the course of like 10 years, but for this week was the first time I actually like sat down and watched the whole film in one go, you know what I mean? So, and it was weird because I was watching it and I knew the story and I knew it all. But yeah, watching it all in order and the way it was meant to be like actually viewed, yeah, I quite liked it. So I'd give it like, I'd say probably a 7, just because It's like Tim Burton in it, but like it's an early Tim Burton film, and then it gets better the more films you go on. I mean, not so much anymore because of like it's kind of thinking a bit, But in the 90s he did good, so that's fine. So yeah, mine's a 7.
Echoing all your thoughts basically. I think I caught a brief snippet of this many years ago on television, and I thought, oh, it's colourful and it's fun. I must watch more of this, and I didn't, and then I did for this week. And yeah, it was just, I don't know, everything I said earlier about how much charm and character Tim Burton managed to give in this movie. It's right there. It was. I suppose you could argue that the plot is a little bit choppy and a little bit messy, and the fact that there is so much speculation that has to go on is a problem. But overall, this was great fun. But yeah, it's really it's great fun. I was in hysterics almost the entire movie. I thought all of the nods and weird references to other far spookier things than itself was really well done. Beetlejuice, I'm going to give it an 8 as well. So that gives us an overall score of 80. Which puts it at number 2.
Ooh. Who's number 1 still?
So number 1 is Baby Driver. Number 2 is Beetlejuice. 3 is Vertigo. So you're 2 of yours are in the top 3, Amelia.
That's going to change very soon.
Then Batman Forever, and then Bad Boys. Bad Boys, worst movie of all time. Yeah. Thanks again, Jacob. But
don't worry,
Jacob, that brings us to possibly our most important segment, and that is finding what we're going to watch next week. Jacob,
right?
Enlighten us all.
So, you'd be glad to hear that this is not another Michael Bay or the sequel to Bad Boys or anything like that.
Imagine if it's Bad Boys 2.
Thankfully not. I'm sparing you. In keeping with the theme of it being October and spooky month, I thought I'd pick something that's more...
Spooky season even.
Spooky season. Of course. Got to get that alliteration in there. So this is something, it's not a horror movie, but it does involve some scary stuff. There's a bit of scaring going on, a couple of monsters and things. And I think this will be the first animated film we've looked at.
Ooh.
It's gonna be Monsters, Inc.
Oh no, as soon as you said like Monsters, I was like, oh my god, is he gonna say Monsters, Inc?
We could bring out the Mike Wazowski memes. I'm so excited.
Man. Exactly. So, yeah. Monsters,
incredible.
Inc.
Looking forward to it.
I love Monsters, Inc.
That's a great movie.
I'm excited.
Yeah,
I love the theme, just like the really loud version of it as well. That's how we'll start next week. Like that's how we're gonna start next week, just saying.
I'm in.
Oh, we'll do it, and when it goes, I'll just pop up. That's how you introduce me. I was like, no. That's how we'll do it. So
singing your own version of
Tune in
music.
next week for that.
Literally.
Join us then next week for that stunning rendition of the Monsters, Inc. theme. And, of course, we'll talk about the movie as well. Like and subscribe. Let us know what you think of Beetlejuice in the comments below. Watch Monsters, Inc. with us as well. We'll be the world's biggest film book club one day. And give us a follow on social media and all that good stuff. Bye!
Sweet. Awesome.
Nice.
Laters. What?
I'm doing the same.
That only covers up your camera, Jay. Just so
That was the joke. That just be like that. And then next week, I'll just start like that. And then it's like, and my friend was there the whole week.